Hi, hey, hello, how are you? And welcome to my channel. Today I'm so excited because the movie adaptation of The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman is finally available to all who have a Netflix subscription. This is a series that I am super duper obsessed with. If you've never heard of this series or you've just never read it, this is an English series about 4 elderly people that live at this retirement community and they solve murders. So if that sounds like something that you would be into, this is definitely a series for you. This is a cozy murder mystery type vibe, but also the writing is absolutely amazing. I can't say enough good things about it. I absolutely sobbed my face off when I was reading the 4th book. I was so attached to the characters by that point that just like the things that happen, it was too much. It was too much, but also in the best way. So when I heard that a movie was coming out, I completely lost my mind. I was super excited. And then when the casting was revealed, I was like, are you joking? Helen Mirren? Are you kidding? That's insane. I don't know who I personally would have cast for this movie, but I feel like they did an absolutely stellar job. I feel like I couldn't have done any better myself. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about how I felt about the movie and how I think it stacks up to the book. I actually wanted this to be the first video in a series that I've been wanting to make for a while. I've been wanting to do a page to screen type series where I talk about books that I've read, and then if they get turned into movies or TV shows, kind of compare and contrast and let you know what I think. In the future, I would definitely like to do some videos in this series where I do it more of like a reading vlog style where you get to see me read the book and my reactions in real time and then my thoughts like right after I've watched the movie or the show or whatever. But I read all of these books in the past couple of years, so obviously I can't do that for this one. The first book in the Thursday Murder Club series was released in 2020 and I read it in 2023. I was immediately hooked and then read the second one and the third one as soon as I could. Thankfully, the 4th book in the series came out by September of that year, so I was able to read all 4 of the books within 1 calendar year, and that felt absolutely amazing. And then I had to deal with the gut-wrenching ache that is waiting for the next book in your favorite series to come out. So I've been waiting for a minute. Richard Osman decided to start a new series. The first book in that series being We Solve Murders. I absolutely love that one. Ate it up, 5 stars. So there's my little history with the books. I am so obsessed with them. I actually don't own any of them physically. I have a couple of them on Kindle and I did borrow, I want to say one from the library and then a couple of them from family members. I would not mind owning them because they're so good and I would definitely read them again. But yeah, so that's the vibe. That's how I feel about this series. It is very near and dear to my heart. And I am not gonna lie, I was definitely scared. When I started the movie, I watched it the other night and I told my wife, I was like, I'm actually terrified. Like, what if I hate it? What if I hate it? What am I gonna do then? You know, like this is so important to me. They cannot mess this up. I think that everybody that has a favorite book or a favorite series that gets adapted to the screen is so excited and then immediately terrified because you're just like, what's gonna happen? What are they gonna do to my baby? You know what I mean? So that's definitely how I felt, but very quickly going into it, my suspicions were eased. I calmed down because it was definitely giving me that like fast-paced English witty banter that I wanted and that the book has. Like I said, I felt like the casting was amazing. I didn't know how I felt when Pierce Brosnan was announced for Ron. That is really not the like type of person that I was picturing in my head for that character. I feel like he did a fantastic job. Do I think that maybe they could have picked somebody else that was less well known? Sure, but it doesn't really matter. I think that he did super well and he was hilarious. It was an awesome portrayal of that character. I did not previously know the actress that played Joyce, and I wasn't expecting somebody like her to play Joyce either, but I think she did a fantastic job. She has such a grasp on that like bright-eyed optimism that Joyce has, and just the demeanor and the way that she looks at the world. I feel like she had that unlock for sure. Something that I felt like was missing was that if you've read the books, you know that like one of the hallmarks of Joyce's character is that yes, she is this like adorable innocent old lady that likes to bake, and she's just so cute, but also she's got a feisty side and she's so flirty. She loves to flirt with all the other guys at Cooper's Chase. She is always on the hunt for a cutie, and I love the way that Richard Osman wrote that into her character, because at the same time you learn that she is a widow and she had this amazing husband for years and years and years, and he has since passed on, and she still speaks so highly of him, but at the same time she's just like got this like spunky side. And I feel like the way that her character is written in the books is very well balanced. Like she definitely has both of those and they live in a harmony, and somehow it just makes sense in her. But I felt like that like feisty, spunky, flirty side was just not there. It just wasn't there in the movie, and that surprised me a little bit because I feel like that's pretty integral to her character. I feel like Ben Kingsley was an absolutely fantastic Ibrahim. He just hit it right out of the park. Same thing with Helen Mirren. Of course she was gonna hit it right out of the park, like duh. I think that she has got Elizabeth's character down. I don't have anything to say about it, no notes. She did an amazing job. I will say, if this is not a series you've read before, or even if it is, because I read this series, obviously, it's been a minute, it's been like 2 years, but especially if you've not read this series, this is not a second screen movie. This is not a movie where you can be like having a conversation with your friend, you can't be texting, you can't be scrolling, you need to be locked the fuck in, because it's a murder mystery with lots of little details and lots of characters, and you need to make sure that you're paying attention, otherwise you're gonna get lost and you're gonna be confused with all of the names that get thrown out. You need to remember people's names, you need to remember timelines, and you just have to be really paying attention. It's not that it's like confusing or it's hard to understand, you just need to be paying attention. So I feel like that's definitely worth mentioning, is that you're not going to have this on in the background, and if you do choose to do that, you're not going to be able to fully enjoy it. You're not going to be able to fully understand what's happening. So I will say that you definitely have to be paying attention to really get the fullness that you can out of this movie. Now, I feel like the big question that everybody has when you're asking, does the movie stack up to the book? I would say if I were to give the movie a rating like I give a book, a number of stars, 1 through 5, I would give it 4 stars. Now, this series, I'm pretty sure I gave every book 5 stars. It is just so near and dear to my heart. And I felt that the sets, the costumes, the line deliveries, the actors, they did such a good job of capturing the world of Cooper's Chase, and that made me so happy because it was so exciting to like see it come to life on the screen. That was amazing. But there is a lot that happens in each and every one of these books. I have not done all of the research that I could have on the making of this movie. All that I know is that I know that Richard Osman was involved, but to a very limited degree. I know that he said at some point that he wanted to focus on continuing the book series and he didn't want to be too involved with the movie. So I know that that's a factor. I respect that, but some liberties were definitely taken, as they normally are when things get adapted. And I did read some other people's reviews on IMDb, on some articles, whatnot, and I feel like the biggest takeaway that I had as well is that there's so much goodness in this first book that you really can't keep everything and turn it into a movie. And that's exactly what happened. And it's really unfortunate because it really changes the end of the movie. The end of the movie is very different from the end of the book. It really gave me the impression that they are not looking to make this a franchise. They're just looking to make this one movie for Netflix and that's it. I could be wrong, but some of the things that are changed and some of the things that are revealed in the end of the movie are not supposed to happen or not supposed to happen yet. So it gave me the idea that like maybe this is not supposed to be continued necessarily. Now, if you want to know what I'm talking about, I will tell you, but it's going to include spoilers. So here's your warning. If you don't want to be spoiled, click off now. But I do want to say they did my man Bogdan so dirty. Why did they do him like that? I just don't. Bogdan is such an important character in this series, and I feel like when you read the first book, you don't really get that yet. Like, you're just like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm becoming attached to him. But throughout the series, when you read books 2, 3, and 4, you're so attached to him. Just like the core 4, you're just like, this is my guy, Bogdan, you know? And he gets arrested and taken to jail for murder at the end of the movie. And I was genuinely like, what the fuck is happening? And also, is this gonna be resolved? Is there gonna be a little twist? Is somebody gonna pull like a get out of jail free card? No, that's the last time you see him in the movie. He gets arrested and hauled away by none other than Donna. Donna is the one that puts this man in handcuffs and hauls his ass away. That doesn't make any sense to me, because if you're reading the book series, they end up together. And that's like part of the thing. As the reader, you know that yes, Bogdan has murdered a man, and yes, Donna is in law enforcement. How is this gonna work? But also, you really like them together and you want to see them succeed. And it's like a whole thing. And so I feel like it would crazily change the trajectory of the other movies if there were going to be other movies, because they chose to arrest Bogdan. I don't know why. I don't know why they did that. Obviously, there were some other things that they changed that were probably just like mainly for pacing and time, but that one, I feel like there could have been a way around that, and that is what they chose, and I'm confused as to why, but nobody decided to clue me in on it, so I don't know. There are 2 other little things that kind of bugged me, because I was like, you're not supposed to know about that yet. When you're reading the first book, you are obviously like, okay, whatever Elizabeth did in her life before she became a retiree, she clearly was some sort of important person in law enforcement or government. Maybe she was a spy or something, and you're just wondering, but it's also like not in the forefront because you're so focused on the cold case that they're trying to solve, and then like the current murders that are happening in the first book. And then in the second book, it really becomes a main part of the plot. You're seriously trying to figure out, what did Elizabeth used to do? And you learn so much about her character and her life in the second book, and it's amazing the way that it unfolds. It's just done so beautifully. But you do find that she used to be a part of MI6, and when that's revealed, it's a big reveal. She just drops it casually. She just says it casually to Donna in the movie, and that irritated me. But again, I could see why they would drop that fact if there's not going to be other movies, because if there's not going to be other movies and you are a viewer that did not read the book, then you too are wondering, how does this lady know this stuff? How is she so quick and I'm suspicious of her? You know what I mean? So there's that. And then the other thing that really stood out to me is that nothing is said verbally, but in the end, we're getting kind of like a montage of them like being happy after they solve the murders and whatever. And Ibrahim is sitting on the couch at Joyce's, and Joyce is showing Ibrahim her wedding photo album from when her and Jerry got married. And Ibrahim pulls a photo out of his wallet of him when he was young and this other young man. And Joyce is like, oh, you were so young. How old were you? And Ibrahim's like, I was 22, and yeah, I had hair then. And you're just like, ha ha ha. But like, obviously, you're like, who is that other guy in the photo? Well, in the book series, you find out eventually that Ibrahim has been closeted his whole life, and he did have a lover at one point, but then they had to break apart. It's very sad. It's an absolute tragedy, but it gives so much backstory to Ibrahim as a character. And it's good that it comes later because nothing is rushed. This felt very rushed to me. Because it could have just been like an old photo of Ibrahim. Why did it have to be him and this other guy and then you don't say anything about it? The viewer is just like, oh, I guess he's gay? You know? I don't know. I was just like, guys, what are we doing? Why did we do that? You know what I mean? Other than that, other than those couple little things that kind of got my goat a little bit, I did really enjoy the movie as a whole. Holistically, it was very cute and mostly spot on. It had the vibes. I do think I would watch it again. Now that I know that those things are there, you just ignore them and you treat it like it's different. It's a separate entity from the book and we can all agree on that, but I would recommend it. I would recommend the book for sure. I'd recommend the whole series. But I would definitely recommend the movie as well because I think it's a really cute movie. And if you've never read the book, then it's a cute movie. If you have read the book, it's really interesting to see the differences. Maybe you will pick up on something that I didn't. If you do end up watching the movie, tell me what you think of it in the comments. Yeah, I'm really excited to start this new series. I think it'll be fun to get to talk about my love for movies and TV as well as my love for books and how they connect. I love a good screen adaptation. I think it's so interesting to see what gets picked up to be made into a movie. One that's on my radar is I know that they're making a movie of People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry and also The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. I am so excited for that. I love Lily Reinhart and I cannot wait. And you better believe that I will talk about that. So be excited. Anyway, I hope you liked this video. Tell me what you thought down below. If you did like it, you can give it a like. And if you like me and my channel, you can subscribe. If you haven't already, you can hit that little bell icon to be notified every single time that I post. And all of my social media links are linked in the description below. If you want to go follow me on any of those, you can. And I will see you next time. Bye!